joining us live from Tel Aviv for Talk Today is Dr. Einat Wilf, a former Israeli MP and intelligence officer. Einat, in light, thank you, by the way, for joining us. You did last week. It's great to have you on. In light of what we're seeing at the Al-Shifa hospital, what is your assessment, really, of the military operation? I mean, we hear so many different sides to what's going on. What is the truth? What's happening there on the ground, in your opinion?
Israel has been operating in a slow and steady manner to try to ensure that the human shields that Hamas has built for decades, really, are no longer serving as Hamas's human shields. Israel has actually put its own soldiers at risk in order to ensure the ability of numerous civilians to evacuate to safety in the south, to evacuate hospitals. The World Health Organization has been completely delinquent for years, knowing that Hamas uses hospitals as the biggest kind of human shield, thinking that this will be something that Israel will never touch. So what Israel is doing is slowly, we have given it over a month by now, slowly ensuring that civilians are evacuated against Hamas shooting those civilians and shooting our soldiers. We're doing it day by day. We're evacuating slowly the hospitals and slowly closing in on Hamas's main headquarters that have been embedded for years and even decades under hospitals, thinking that they are completely safe there. And I think we can all agree by now that Hamas must be rooted out wherever they are.
Absolutely. Dr. Einat, can I just ask, how are you going to be evacuating premature babies from the hospital?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
You said you're making every effort to make sure that people were evacuated.
Israel has been in direct contact with the heads of the hospitals. They talk to them regularly. The military spokesperson has repeatedly, every day, they discuss the conversations they have with the hospital. They let them know how they can be evacuated. We give our own soldiers for this process to protect them. You must understand how evil and brutal Hamas is against their own people, against our people. They are shooting at people trying to evacuate. Israel puts its own soldiers in danger in order to protect Palestinian civilians seeking to evacuate. There's a process working to ensure that patients, babies, everyone can evacuate. There's a hospital in the south. Evacuate to safety.
Dr. Einat, if I can jump in just quickly, and I appreciate you being here. I think you're absolutely right. I think the optics of what happened 4 weeks ago were appalling, and I think some of the stories that we've read. If I could just say this, some of the stories that we've read and some of the images that we've seen are absolutely abhorrent. Right? I want to talk though about that word optics. I absolutely stand shoulder to shoulder with the Israeli people that want to get their hostages back, etc., etc. Macron, I'm not his biggest fan, has called for an end to the killing of civilians. Whilst I've been away on holiday, the President of America, Joe Biden, on Friday said, and I quote, "We're going to have 4-hour gaps so that people can get out." I am not doubting the reasons for what is happening. I am asking you a simple question. How do you think that the number of increasing deaths looks across the world? Do you fear there will come a point where the global feeling weakens because of the killings, however unfortunate, however you want to describe it, of innocent people, especially a lot of children? How would you respond to that?
What we have is much, much worse happens in different wars, and you don't see the response. So the fear that I have is that Israel will be prevented from doing what it needs to ensure that what happened on October 7th doesn't happen again, because Hamas has declared and continues to declare that it will do so again and again and again. We know from other conflicts that Israel goes above and beyond anything that is considered in American, British, the most advanced countries in war, Israel goes above and beyond to secure civilian lives. We know that the number of civilians who die in this conflict is still lower compared to the number of combatants in other conflicts. So that can't be the reason. The numbers, just the sheer numbers in other conflicts were different, and you didn't see those outcries in the streets. So we know in Israel that people pretend to claim that this is the reason they're outraged, but since we never saw this outrage in any other context, we know that something else is at work, and we fear that there is going to be an effort to prevent Israel from doing what it takes to protect its citizens. And from what we're seeing now in Gaza,
Dr.
to
Einat,
free the Palestinians. Sorry.
Dr. Einat, sorry to interrupt. I've only got 20 seconds. What do you think those other powers at play are?
Ancient views about the inability to give Jews the ability to defend themselves. Absolutely.
Well, Dr. Einat Wilf, thank you so much for joining us.